Bozeman police say a girl is dead after a drunk driver hit her in his car while she was riding her bike. I'm Cody Boyer with more details.
And a man is finally sentenced after stabbing his own father. Time now 6:29. We're back here checking in with Chet Lehman. What's going on out there right now?
Not much. It's really nice, actually. As we're getting ready, we're just a week and a day away from Christmas. It's really pretty nice out for the most part. Teens and 20s for most of southwest Montana. There was a skiff of snow overnight in West Yellowstone, currently at 10 degrees down there. Not all bad, considering it is the 17th day of December. Today, going to warm up into those low 30s for the most part. Increasing clouds as your day goes on for the Bozeman area. We'll just keep the clouds around all day long. It'll be partly cloudy to mostly cloudy in the Butte area, nearing that 30-degree range, but it will get warmer as the week goes on. I have that detailed forecast, Caitlin, in 10 minutes.
All right, thank you, Chet. Time now 6:30. A woman is dead after Bozeman police say a drunk driver hit and killed her while she was riding a bicycle. MTN's Cody Boyer has the latest.
It was dark like this when Bozeman police say it happened here at the intersection of North 19th Avenue and Rawhide Ridge just before 11 o'clock Saturday night. Now, investigators say Alexa Zintars was riding her bike on the shoulder on the right side of the white line when a man driving a Jeep crossed that line and hit her.
When you're talking about a 4,500 to 5,000 pound vehicle driving down the roadway and striking an individual on a bicycle, it's never going to turn out really well for the bicyclist.
Marks in the snow and on the pavement are all that show what investigators say is a tragedy. According to court documents, 27-year-old Chad Besides was driving after leaving a company Christmas party, eventually telling police he had 3 or 4 drinks. This after calling 911 himself.
The motorist had called into dispatch and indicated that he had struck a bicyclist on North 19th Avenue.
Police say it was Alexa Zintars. I spoke with several of Alexa's close friends who say they remember her as a bright mind, an artist, always smiling. While they are still grieving and decided not to speak on camera, they say they'll remember her kindness. And in a post from her work, co-workers say she was adored. When investigators looked at marks in his car and on the road, they say that court documents show Alexa was where she needed to be, on the right side of the line. Police say evidence shows the passenger side of Besides' car had been off the road, on the shoulder. Investigators say Zintars had reflectors and was believed to be wearing a headlamp. In the end, they add this could have been avoided.
You don't have to be drunk, you don't have to be slurring, you don't have to be stumbling. I mean, if you feel like you've had a beer, if you feel like you've had a glass of wine, if you feel like you've had a shot of whiskey, it's affecting your ability to make decisions and to function.
Now, if convicted of vehicular homicide while under the influence, Besides could face up to 30 years in prison. Now, we will also keep you updated on any sort of efforts to help the victim's family and future memorials when they are planned. In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Meantime, a Butte woman accused of falling asleep on top of her baby in a car has been taken into custody more than 2,300 miles away in the state of Maine. The jail roster from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office shows 30-year-old Adrena Nickerson was taken into custody on Saturday night. She was arrested as a fugitive from justice and is being held without bail. Back on September 25th, Nickerson was found sleeping in her car and laying on top of her infant daughter. The baby was not breathing and had no pulse. A toxicology report later showed Nickerson had meth in her system at the time. Her son was also asleep in the back seat. A Bozeman man who pleaded guilty to stabbing his father back in 2017 heard his fate yesterday. Tanner Franks was sentenced to 50 years in prison after he told the court back in October he killed his father, William Franks. The judge sentenced Franks to 40 years on a mitigated deliberate homicide charge, with another 10 years added for the use of a weapon. Franks originally denied that he killed his father when he first appeared in court back in November of 2017, and yesterday Franks' aunt and his brother took the stand to address him directly.
I don't know why you can't take accountability or responsibility or admit it. I don't know why. I don't know why you have to rationalize that, your mom. And you can't say you're sorry, you haven't said sorry once.
And the court ordered none of Franks' time in prison to be suspended and gave credit for 756 days already served. A Belgrade man is facing felony theft charges after he was arrested Friday while driving a stolen forklift. According to charging documents, 37-year-old Joshua Webb was reported to be trespassing and driving a forklift in the middle of Timothy Lane in Belgrade. Court documents say a witness saw Webb run over several mailboxes near the intersection and then drove into the side of a house. Webb's bail was set at $1,500 and he could face up to 10 years in jail. He may also have to pay for damages from that incident. Fire officials in Libby are investigating a mobile home fire that killed 1 woman and 7 dogs. When crews arrived at the scene yesterday, 25% of the mobile home was already engulfed in flames. Crews tried to enter the home through the front door, but the fire had burned large holes into the floor. Crews were able to get into the home through another entrance, and it took about 90 minutes for firefighters to knock down those flames. The victim was later found in the kitchen area of that home, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. 5 snowmobilers were rescued early this morning near Dinah Lake in the Sealy Lake area. The Missoula County Sheriff's Office says the group from out of state was helped out of the wilderness around 2 a.m. They say weather conditions made that search extremely difficult. Both ground and air teams were forced to turn back when the call went out on Sunday. Those snowmobilers were able to build a small fire, which actually helped them survive the cold, and thankfully no one needed medical attention. Across the country, educators from countries like the Philippines are arriving on the doorsteps of rural school districts, all to fill staffing shortages. District officials in Shelby say these Filipino teachers have brought a flood of relief to hiring droughts, depleting rural communities of local educators. But not everybody is happy with the teachers' temporary status. The top official at the state's largest union says he would like to see this as a pathway to citizenship as it stands now, but says the J1 program only hurts recruitment and retention efforts, which hinge directly on the union's fight for better teacher pay and benefits.
That's a very different thing than to talk about a temporary workforce from someplace else that will work for a different wage scale than maybe the folks that we want to keep there forever.
Shelby officials say they would love to see teachers who stay for decades, but that's not really the reality that they're living in right now.
I would love to have teachers that teach for 20 or 30 years, but the fact of the matter is I hire a lot of Montana teachers and they work for 2 or 3 years for me and then they leave.
MTN Investigates digs deeper in to see if the state is seeing an influx of educators from overseas and how this helps or hurts Montana's rural communities in the long run. Rural School Recruits airs tonight at 10. A statewide ban on flavored vaping products could go into effect at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and that means retailers will only be able to sell tobacco-flavored liquids. Vaping retailers say they've been preparing for this day and that it will have a big effect on their business and their customers. Queens Palace in Helena, for example, gets hundreds of customers each week. Owner Monica Schultz says she's seen an influx of customers coming in to stock up on their vaping products, worried that it won't be available after Wednesday. She says she opened her store to help others quit smoking through vaping and is worried her customers may go back to cigarettes.
Having to quit is going to be a huge thing for a lot of different people. You know, it's helped them get off of cigarettes into a more healthy alternative, and eventually they can cut back and stop. I smoked for 25 years. That's the one thing that got me to stop. And it wasn't the tobacco flavored, because that's the first thing I tried.
And Schultz says if the ban continues for the full 120 days, the shop will keep its doors open during the ban, but with a limited stock of products. And finally, a Butte family was reunited with their dog last night after it was discovered almost 2,000 miles from home. Zeus the pit bull had an emotional reunion with Cassandra Rasmussen and her daughters after their dog was stolen from their Butte home back in October. The dog was found in Charleston, West Virginia, and lots of volunteers from the Paws organization drove Zeus back to his family in Butte. So it was a very emotional reunion for the family who hadn't seen their dog in more than 2 months. And of course, captured all at the KXLX studios.
I've seen this now a couple of times, and it still just chokes me up. I just think that's awesome that they, you think you've lost your dog, and somebody knucklehead took it out of your yard, and he's back.
And what are the chances? I mean, over 2,000 miles away, and then you get your dog back?
Phenomenal. That's it. I am super happy for everybody. I'm happy for Zeus. You made it back to the mining city. No, it gets me. That gets me. I just love those holiday stories, no matter when they happen.
I know. And
super happy for
kids.
those little girls. I just think that's awesome.
They must be so happy.
Yep.
All right, and we'll be right back.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS this morning, we're on the scene of a deadly tornado outbreak and storm system moving through the Midwest and Northeast. Plus a major update in a CBS News investigation. Families sue some of the largest U.S. tech companies over cobalt mining by children in the Congo. What this could mean for brands like Apple and Google. Also, how advanced driver assistance technology could make you even more distracted behind the wheel. Think about that for a second. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.